devil you know or the devil that you don't? Should you restore your high mileage? High mileage Mercedes or buy another one? This is the question that I get so often. It is just a question that doesn't really have an easy answer, but I decided to discuss it today because I've spent all weekend discussing it with a couple of our subscribers actually, and I want to share this topic with some of you guys who might be wrangling with the same question. So this question typically starts with somebody who's had the same Mercedes, not for 5 years, but for something like 15 or 20. Usually it's a 126, a 123, less frequently a 124 or a 201, but most of the time I'm thinking 126 or 123. Now, sometimes a car can be so worn out and so beat up, whether it's from northern winter driving or from just the wear and tear you put on it, that it may not look like a good proposition to restore it. But other times, if you have a car that you've owned for so many years and you've put a lot of miles on it and you keep maintaining the car and servicing the car, and then you wonder, oh, there's so many little things in this car that are going wrong, should I keep it or not? All these questions start to come up. You know, is this car really worn out? Should I get another Mercedes? Is it going to be cheaper for me to get another Mercedes, or should I keep the one I have? So we're going to lay down some criteria here that might help you make the decision. First of all, if you are dealing with a car that has worn out suspension, worn out interior, faded paint, but it's mechanically good and you've maintained it for the past 15 years, even if it's a relatively high mileage car, it's still going to be cheaper for you to deal with that car than to buy another Mercedes and put the time and energy into it, because all these cars are approaching the same age, and what might not look like a worn out car could actually just be a worn out car with a nice paint job and some new seat covers. You know, I've seen plenty of cars where people put seat covers on and you look at the seat springs, they're all broken. So that doesn't do anything now, does it? Another scenario we see is that we have a car that has major engine damage, major paint problems, you know, things like a cracked dashboard and other nuisance items that's been in the care of one person for many years. Buying another Mercedes might be an option here, but again, you have to ask yourself, how well do I know my own car? It is very, very frustrating to get a strange car off the internet and find out that it's no better than the car you already have. And case in point, let's say you have an 87 300 SDL with a blown up motor. A motor is going to cost you $10,000 to rebuild, and maybe some extra to install if you're not doing the work yourself. If you go out and you buy another SDL for $2,000 or $3,000 that has a good engine in it, what's to say that that car's engine isn't going to blow up after 25,000 miles, you know, or, you know, you might get another 100 or 150,000 miles out of it, but either way, it's sort of a risky bet. You know, what do you do in this scenario? Well, you know, it's all about a personal decision, but in this case, I believe it's better to work with the car you've got already and deal with its problems instead of just going out and buying another one where, again, more hidden problems are waiting. Now, if you have a car that's really rusty and or been in a major accident, again, it depends on whether the rust is structural and or whether or not the accident damage has affected the car's frame and structural integrity so badly it can't be repaired. I've seen cars that have taken a left front hit with some frame rail damage. It might look bad, but it's totally repairable. But in the meantime, if the car's taken a side impact that has buckled the floor pans or has been rear-ended to the point where the whole rear clip was crumpled, it's going to be very hard to find somebody who can actually repair that damage. And we're not just talking about a dented quarter panel, we're talking about rear doors don't open and close. All the rear glass is shattered, you know. Then, yeah, it might be a wise idea to start looking for another car, or if you've had a major car fire and the whole thing has just been smoked. But this is never an easy question to answer. I think the one thing I want all of you guys to take away from this video is that it's always better to deal with a car that you're familiar with, even if the mileage is high, even if it looks ugly, even if you are kind of bored with it, you know. If you're driving a Mercedes because of its functionality, which is the reason a lot of people have them, or you're, you know, because you just like your car and you're married to it after so many years, don't give up on it. And if you have a really high mileage Mercedes, especially a diesel, don't give up on it either. I mean, if these cars are well maintained, mileage is just a thing on them. It's not a death sentence at all. So, in the words of Peter Brock, who had an 800,000 mile 300D, Peter Brock designed the Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe, among other interesting designs. He said, I could never figure out a reason why I should get rid of my 85 300D, and I still have the car today even with 800,000 miles. I had to restore it once at 500,000 miles, but you know, the car has just paid me back over and over again. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please consider doing so. Think about a Patreon donation. It would really help us to keep bringing you high quality videos. We have one in the can right now that's coming out soon for the 300 ad an hour, which is paid for with a lot of Patreon money. And you know, finally, like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below, and enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz no matter where you live or what kind of condition it's in. They're still great cars.